Hello and welcome to Stories with Miss Linda. I'm glad to have you here today. I have a book that I have picked today that's a really special book to me. It's special for a couple of reasons. The book is If Pigtails Could Fly, and it's special to me because it is by Linda Brown. That's me. I am the author. And the illustrator is Eden Platt. And Eden is a college student learning how to draw pictures for children's books. And as we read this, you're going to see she does a really wonderful job. The other reason it's really special to me is it's because it's about my granddaughter, Lydia. From her, I got the story idea. And some of it's true and some of it's not. And you pay close attention to see if you can figure out what's true and what is not. I am going to, for the sake of reading this, try to fold the book back like this. But please don't do that. I don't ever do it to anybody else's book or a library book. And the only reason I'm doing it is because it's my book. And I want you to see the pictures really good. So Lydia had just taken a bite of her peanut butter and jelly sandwich when it happened. A soft, bouncy breeze lifted her pigtails gently into the warm air. She giggled and shook her head. She loved that her pigtails went bounce, bounce, bounce. Your pigtails are going to blow away, said her mama, and she laughed. Lydia's pigtails floated again into the air. Now she was worried. Just in time, she quickly grabbed each pigtail as the whirling wind became stronger. They had had such a lovely day at the park. Mama had pushed her in the swing. She flew so high she almost touched the clouds. They laughed when they sped down the tall slide faster than the wind. Mama took her picture when Lydia pretended to be a monkey on the monkey bars. Now this horrible wind had come. It was scattering all the picnic stuff everywhere. The cups and the plates were blowing around. Tree leaves were blowing around. Mama quickly gathered all the picnic stuff and hurried to the car. Lydia, hurry, cried Mama. Catch the cups. I can't, said Lydia. I have to hold on to my pigtails. Lydia, help me, called Mom. Grab the blanket, run to the car. I can't, said Lydia, trying to run after Mama. Mama was at the car, stuffing the blanket and picnic basket into the trunk. The wailing wind was now so noisy, Lydia could barely hear her mama calling to her to hurry. Quick, Lydia, grab your jacket. I can't, cried Lydia, her little hands holding tight to her pigtails. Mama's face didn't look up, and she didn't look very happy as she tried to get everything in the trunk. Lydia now had big tears in her eyes. I can't let go of my pigtails, she yelled. They're going to blow away. Lydia ran shouting, you stop, you horrible wind. Suddenly, Lydia tripped on a tree root. Down she fell into the dirt. She put out her hands to catch herself, and away flew her pigtails into the horrible wind. No, cried Lydia. Mama turned to see what was wrong. Lydia was on the ground. She ran quickly. Lydia, are you okay? Lydia's knees and hands were sore and scratched. There was even some blood mixed with the dirt. Let me look, said Mama. No, said Lydia. No, no, no. Two big tears slid down Lydia's cheek. My pigtails, sobbed Lydia, and buried her face in her dirty hands. Her pigtails were indeed gone. Poor Lydia's head even felt cold without them. What was she to do? She looked around. Other little girls had the same problem. Everywhere she looked, pigtails and ponytails were flying through the air. She saw a long brown braid flying right at her, and she ducked just in time. Mama reached out and grabbed a blonde ponytail as it flew by. Finally, the horrible wind stopped. All over the park, people stood around with messed up hair. Everyone was too surprised to move. What a sad sight. There was pigtails and ponytails caught in the trees. There were some hanging on telephone lines. There was even a messy braid on the lamppost. Soon the firefighters came with their shiny red trucks and their long ladders, and up they went to rescue the pigtails and the ponytails and the braids. Soon they had them all gathered in a big pile, red ones, brown ones, long ones, curly ones. How would Lydia find hers? Oh, Lydia said with a soft sigh. A muddy tear sat on her nose and a dirty frown sat on her face. She searched in the big pile and saw a familiar red ribbon. Lydia pulled on the ribbon and out came her pigtail. With a sad smile, she held it up for her mother to see. Here, Mama said as she held up a pigtail she had found. Try this one on. Lydia looked at her reflection in the pond. She sighed again. The pigtail was too long. It couldn't be Lydia's. Another tear slipped down her cheek. What is one good pigtail? What is it good for? You can't just have one pigtail. That's okay, said Mama. We can make it into a ponytail. Lydia didn't smile. Can you see up here? This bird, can you see what he's flying away with? He's got a pigtail with a red ribbon on it. A few months later, Lydia and her mama were at the park again. Now it was spring and the trees were bright with green leaves. Lydia missed her pigtails that used to go bounce, bounce, bounce around her ears. But she did like her new ponytail that went swish, swish, swish when she walked. On this pretty spring day, Lydia was just about to take a bite of her peanut butter and jelly sandwich when it happened. She heard tweet, tweet, tweet. Ooh, said Lydia. I hear birdies. Lydia wanted to find the birdies. She noticed a nest in a nearby tree with tiny green leaves. She stood tall on her tippy toes, but she couldn't see anything. Again, she heard tweet, tweet, tweet. Mama, please lift me up. Mama lifted her up as high as she could, but she still couldn't see anything. Then Lydia noticed a slide that was close to the tree. She ran over to climb to the very top of the slide. Lydia, be careful, called her mama. At the very top of the slide, Lydia looked down into a tree branch. Her eyes grew big and round. Oh, she said. What do you see? Mama called. My pigtail, said Lydia. I see my pigtail. On the branch, Lydia saw a nest of twigs and grass twisted together with her tangled pigtail. In the middle of the nest, there was 5 tiny birds snuggled together. They looked so warm and cozy and happy. She watched them wiggle and bump into each other in the pigtail nest. Lydia was so happy that she had found her pigtail. Now she could have 2 pigtails that would go bounce, bounce, bounce around her ears. Her hand made a reach for the pigtail, and as it did, it cast a shadow over the little birds. Thinking their mommy had returned with lunch, they lifted their tiny heads, their tiny eyes closed, their tiny mouths open wide, waiting for lunch. Lydia stopped. She wondered where the baby birds would sleep without her pigtail. Would they stay warm and cozy? Lydia shook her head. Swish, swish, swish went her ponytail. That made her happy, and she knew what to do. Bye-bye, birdies, said Lydia. Be happy and be warm. As she carefully climbed down the slides ladder, she saw the mommy bird returning with a big fat worm for lunch. Lydia laughed and made her ponytail go swish, swish, swish. I think that was a fun story about my granddaughter. Could you tell what was true, and could you tell the makeup part? Well, let me tell you, that was a story about little Lydia, my granddaughter. And she did go to the park with her mommy. It was a little windy, and her mommy did say, oh, the wind's going to blow your pigtails away. And she believed her mommy, and she grabbed a hold of each pigtail, and there wasn't anything her mommy could do to get her to let go. She was very worried about her pigtails. Well, when I heard that cute little story, I thought, well, let's make up our imagination and figure out what else could have happened. Can you do that? Do you have stories in your family? Has maybe one of your parents ever locked the car with the keys in it? Have you ever gone to the beach and lost a beach ball out in the ocean? Have you had a little brother or sister that maybe gets into mommy's makeup or something else that they shouldn't? Do you have a dog that hides people's shoes? Anything like that. And I'm sure you have your own funny little things in your family. You can take those simple little stories and you can use your imagination and decide how to finish the story, how to make it be an adventure, how to make it different so that it's part true story and part not true story. It's up to you. And maybe the story is funny enough itself that you don't need to even add anything to it. But you can write down the story, and I encourage you to do that. To write the story, to draw pictures to go with it. And maybe you don't like to draw pictures. Maybe that's not your thing. Some people like to draw and some people like to write. But because you can draw or you can write doesn't always mean you feel like you're very good at the other thing. I felt that I could write the story, but I didn't feel I could draw the pictures. And so that's when I found Eden, who was learning how to draw for storybooks, and I let her do the story. And so she did what she's good at, and I did what I was good at, and we came up with a really fun little book. So I hope that maybe you'll think about it, find a story that you've already seen happen in your house, or maybe something funny you did, and make it an adventure. Make it even more to think about, more to learn about. And I hope you have a nice day. Bye-bye. We'll see you again.